everybody, I am back with the sweetest project. I'm so excited about this. I'm working with the collaboration box that I do together with Didi Beads. The founder, Stella, and myself, we just love to create bead boxes, curate our boxes, do wonderful themes, and this one was so sweet and delicious in all these gorgeous pastel colors. And so I'm going to be making, if you didn't see my reveal and my first two projects, this was one of them. I did this beautiful stretch bracelet. These are the colors in the box, and I had kind of dove in to a little project with the petals, the rosebud petals that were in the box, and I wasn't really happy with my prototype. I wasn't happy with the back, but that's kind of, I shared this, that I'm working out the details of this, and I felt like this needed 6 petals, and so this is the second version of it. And I feel like I still need a little bit of tweaking with my pearls in the center, but I love the way the back turned out. And I have put this little loop here, so that is going to get probably a double jump ring and get connected to a little strung necklace with the gemstones that were in the box, not gemstones, the faceted rondelles that were in the box. And so I have 2 separate beading trays out here and 2 separate needles. Both of my needles are threaded with a 10-pound fire line in pink, and this is the package. It's the 0.006 diameter, and I'm using pink. I also have this in beige, which works really well too. And that's for my flower focal. And then I have a strand here. I literally put this around my neck because this one is threaded for the length of my strung part of my necklace, and I've just made a little bit of a start so that you could see. In order to extend the length of the strand of faceted crystals that were in here, there's 15 inches here, and these are 2 by 5 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and it's just a crystal rondelle mix, really tiny, petite, and just candy colors. And so when I get to this, I'll show you how I plan to do my strung part and how I plan to attach my flower to that very sweet little necklace. Just delightful. So I'm going to set this aside for after this part is done. And so if you did not get our collaboration box, but you would like to try this with me, and I would really classify this as a beginner project. There is one portion of this where all of your petals are a little bit wobbly and you start to firm them up and connect them. That may be a little tricky, but honestly, if you just lay it flat on your mat and arrange them, you can easily see where you're going. And when I get to that, I will zoom in so you can really see what I'm doing. But as I started to say, if you want to make this, but you did not get this box, you will need 6 little Czech glass rose petals. These are 8 by 7 millimeter. They have an AB finish, and the color is seafoam, AB seafoam. And then I have here some 11O seed beads, and these are from Adornable Elements Seed Beads of the Month Club. The ones that I tried on my prototype were Miyuki, or I don't even know, Miyuki, I think they were Miyuki, but I just didn't like the result that they gave me. So I like the opaque lavender much better. I have some 15O gold seed beads here. These are Miyuki 15O. They are Duracoat yellow gold, and that's what I'm using for the little part of the back and making the little picos on the rose. And then these gorgeous teeny tiny little pearl dots are from Potomac Beads, and they are a 2 millimeter Potomac pearl, and it's called Cream Rose, and it was just a half strand from the treasure box. Maybe you can see them better if I show you the strand. They are so wonderful. Oh my goodness, I love them so much. But I think that if you had a 2 millimeter crystal, 2 millimeter bicone or something like that, I think that would work as well, but I love the look of those little cream rose pearls. And then if you wanted, so I'll just show you the difference. This one has an empty center, and you can totally leave it empty, and then the back is quite pretty. On the one that I finished, the back is quite pretty, so you can leave it empty. Or if you have a chaton that is small enough, you can fit it in the middle before you cinch this part up. And when we get to that point, I'll show you that. I only had 8mm. That was the smallest I had, and it was too big. So what I did is popped in a little crystal in the very middle. So you see that little bit of sparkle, and that's what I have out here, is a few different sizes of flat back. They're not Swarovski, I think they're Preciosa crystals, and I can link some crystals for you. This is a little assortment that has a lot of different colors and sizes, and I just pulled a few out because I don't even know if I'm going to use it on this one. I really like it both ways, but I have them out here. So let's get started. I have a number 12 beading needle, and I don't know if you can see the red on this needle. This is the coolest little set of needles that I found. I'll also link these. You get 2 of each size, 2 10s, 2 11s, and 2 12s, and 12 is the tiniest. And I chose that just because it's so much easier when you have to pass through 15 O seed beads a few times. But the red color coding is the 12, the turquoise one is the 11, and the black is the number 10, which is pretty common. And you might even be able to do a number 10, but the 12, I just like it better. I think it's easier. And then I have about a wingspan here. It's more than I will need, but I never know how much reinforcing I'm going to need to do. And if you're a really tight bead weaver, you don't have to do as much, which normally I am. But if you're not, sometimes you might want to reinforce here, poke your needle through and reinforce. I reinforced a couple of times, and I went back through this loop twice because I will be hanging jump rings from this little pendant. So I'm going to set him there, and get your needle threaded if you're going to make along with me. And oh, by the way, did I tell you? I think I did tell you about the body of the necklace. Again, just in case you didn't get the box and you want to pull supplies from your own stash, I hope you'll do that if you didn't get the box. But 2.5mm or even 3mm crystals will be a great size for this size of a pendant. Okay, enough talking, chatter. I just want to make sure that if you want to make this, that you have all the information that you need to be successful. There's nothing worse than following a tutorial, especially on bead weaving, that doesn't turn out and you've wasted all that time, although this does work up pretty fast. Okay, 6 11-0 seed beads on my needle, so just 6, and I'm going to bring it down almost to the end. You don't need much of a tail because you're not going to be tying back to this. And make a circle and just tie an overhand knot. So we're just making a little circle. I'm going to go ahead and do a second knot. So just have a little circle of 6 beads, and I just want to move away from the knot, so I'm going to run my needle through the next 2 beads only to get away from where I tied my knot, and it kind of pulls the knot inside the bead, and really at this point I can burn that knot off even. So now I'm coming out this 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to pick up another 11-0 and run my needle through the very next seed bead. I tend to put my thumb and finger over my work when I'm pulling. It helps to keep me organized, keep things in place. And I'm going to do that 6 more times. Pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go through the next empty seed bead. I'm going to go all the way around my circle until I come back where I started. And you'll see that you create almost the look of a little star. Just pick up a seed bead and go through the very next one all the way around. So you can see that I have 5 little points that are sticking up, and I need to make sure that I have 6. So I'm going to go right through the next seed bead, and if you can, go through that first one that you added, the one that's sticking up. We need to be out on one of the points. And make sure that when you pull, that seed bead jumps into place, that it's not twisted. Your thread tends to get a little twisted sometimes on a tight circle like that. See, it doesn't, see how that one's laying not in the direction I need it to go? Make it do what I need it to do. So now I have a little bit of a star formation, and I'm coming out of one of my beads that is sticking up, and so now I want to pick up a 15 and a rose petal, but on these rose petals there is a concave side and there is a convex side, and I'm gonna deem the convex side, you can use it either way, but it's actually like a real rose petal. So this I'm gonna deem the back side, and every time I add in a rose petal, I'm gonna put my needle in from the back or the convex side coming out through the concave side. And then I'm gonna let that drop down and pick up another 15-0 seed bead. So I have a 15-0 seed bead on either side of my rose petal, just like that. So now I'm going to skip over that 15-0 and go through the rose petal only, not through that other 15-0 seed bead, only through the rose petal. And it's a little wobbly, and it's going to get more wobbly. I'm just warning you now, because we're going to do that with all 6 rose petals, and they're unattached when you first put them on your ring. So I'm holding on to my little 15-0 and pulling. And so I have one wobbly little rose petal attached to my ring. And so now I'm coming out of the rose petal, and I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, just one, and I'm going to come over to the next sticking out 11-0 seed bead and just pull. So it looks like that now. And now from here, we're going to repeat again. Pick up a 15-0, pick up a rose petal from the back side, and pick up another 15-0. Gonna let that drop down. And the same thing again, skip over that 15-0, go through only the rose petal, pull that 15-0, just pull so that the rose petal is down near the circle. And now I'm going to pick up another 15-0. I'm coming out of the rose petal, and I'm going to move through to the next sticking out 11-0 and put my needle through. And so when I pull, I'm getting 2 little 15-0 seed beads at the base of each rose petal. And you'll know that you have your rose petals facing correctly if the single seed bead is sitting on the concave side or the front side. Okay, so we're just going to do that again. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, pick up a rose petal from the back side, pick up a 15-0, let it drop down. I'm going to skip over that first 15-0, go through my petal only, I have found it necessary to get a hold of that little 15-0 to give my tug to get it in place. There we go. And same thing, I'm going to pick up another 15-0. I'm coming out of the back side of the rose petal, and I'm going to go over to the next. It's obvious because it's the next 11-0 that's sticking up, that's empty with no gold around it. And I'm going to do that until I come back around to my first rose petal, until all 6. So 3 of them are on. That's the back side. This is the front side. So all of my little 15-0s are sitting just 1 dot of gold on each rose petal. And I'm going to go again, pick up a 15-0, pick up a rose petal from the back side. Bring these over here. From the back side. And just repeat. This is my last 3 more times. I'm coming out of the rose petal. So I'm going to get a hold of that 15-0, and I just have to make sure that I add my last 15-0 seed beads so that there are 2. See how this one only has 1? So even though that's my last rose petal, I need to pick up another seed bead and go through that first sticking up 11-0 that we did. And when you pull on that last one, you'll see that it's very uniform. Everything, they're twisted, like they are a little bit twisted, but this is the back side. This is the back side. So that's the front side. It's very wobbly at this point because these are not connected, and this is the back side. Okay, so I'm going to, in order for you to see what I'm doing, and maybe this will be easier for you too because they're all wobbly, is lay your flower on your beading mat flat, and now we're going to add in our pearls. But my thread is coming out of the base of my 11-0, and I need to get up to the front. So I'm going to have to pick this up one more time so I can see where to poke my thread through. So it's coming out right there, and what I need to do is be coming out the front side of a rose petal. So I'm going to just follow that thread path, go through that next 11-0, and come out so that I'm not seeing much of my thread. And this is also why I said a number 12 beading needle, because 15-0s are quite small and these rose petals are quite small, and you will pass through a few times. So I don't want to loop over. I just looped over my rose, but I didn't pull it tight so I can loosen it and get back. Just don't want to see my thread. So just want to get back to the front. And I'm going to poke through that rose petal and come out the front of it, just like that. And then I also want to go through the 15-0 that's on the front of the rose petal. And you'll see why we need to do that. So I worked my way around to the front, and my thread is coming out of 15-0. Now we can lay it flat. And now we're going to add in our pearls. So I'm going to pick up one of my 2mm pearls, and then I'm going to run my needle through my next 15-0 that's on the top of the next rose petal. Now I can hold mine in my hand to do this because I can see where I'm going, and I may pick it up again, but I just wanted to lay it here so that you could see what I'm doing. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm going to pick up a pearl, let it drop down. So the pearl is going in between each rose petal, and then run my needle through that 15-0 that's sitting at the base of the rose petal. This is harder for me to be under the camera, and I do better holding this in my hand. But if you feel like you need to organize the petals because they're so floppy, this might help you. But I am going to pick mine up, I think. Just whatever you need to do to get it in there. Don't want to make a knot there. So you can see that it's starting to connect the rose petals. Now, this is the point that if you had a small chaton or a crystal that you wanted to place in here before you cinch this in, you can totally do that. I ended up gluing my sample. I ended up gluing this flat back crystal in the space. I forget that I'm zoomed in, and it's a totally different placement of my item. But if you want to, and like let me just lay one in here now. If you want to, like, you could lay a chaton or something like right in the middle and cinch it up. I just don't have the right size for doing that, so I may glue this. I'll see how it looks when I'm all done. So I may just put a little dot. That's what I did on this one. I just put a little tiny dot of E6000 and just put my flat back crystal in the middle, or you can leave it plain. But I'm just going to go all the way around like that, picking up a pearl and just kind of jumping from one 15-0 to the next 2mm pearl, and then through the next 15-0. So I'm coming out of a pearl. I need to be coming out of one of my 15-0 seed beads. So I'm just going to run my needle through the next one, and then I'm going to pick up 3 more of those 15-0 seed beads on my needle. And let them drop down, and I'm going to run my needle back through that same 15-0 that I'm coming out of, and the next pearl. If you can do it all in one pass, that's great. If not, just get through the 15-0. Okay, so I'm just through the 15-0, and when I pull, that creates a little diamond in between the 2 pearls, like a little diamond shape. So I need to run my needle back through the pearl and the next 15-0, and pull tight, and then repeat that for every intersection. 3 15-0s. And I'm going to run my needle back from the other side of the 15-0 that it's coming out of. And pull tight, and just repeat and go all the way around through the pearl, through the next 15-0. Okay, this is my last one. Pick up 3. And it looks really great. Like, it's very uniform. It looks really great. I want it to, since it's a pendant, it's still moving a little bit. So I'm going to do the same work on the back of the one I'm working on, if I can remember what I did. But I'm going to get my needle back to the back and add another row of beads and my loop for hanging. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming out of, what am I coming out of? This pearl, and I'm just going to go behind that embellishment and come out, get back to the back side. This is why I gave myself a little extra thread as well, because I want this to be nice and firm, so I'm going to add some things to the back. So let's see where I'm at here. I'm going to come through the next two seed beads, the next two 15-0, and I'm right where there's a blank space, and I'm going to pick up another 11-0 and then go through the next two 15-0s, and then I'm going to do that all the way around. Pick up an 11-0, go through the next two 15-0s. I like the back of my piece to be really pretty as well as the front, but this will also firm everything up. So pick up an 11-0 and I'm just going to go all the way around like that. Okay, so on the back, I'm coming out of this 15-0 seed bead, and I've done that little additional embellishment, and I'm going to do 15 seed beads alternating 15-0, 11-0, 15-0, so gold, lavender, 15 on my needle. And that's just the number that I chose for my loop, because I know that I'm probably going to do double fancy jump rings here to attach this to my pendant. And so I'm going to go back through my 11-0 seed bead that's here and come out, and I'm going to add beads in now and go all the way around my flower again. So that puts my loop just peeking above my flower, just like that. It gives me the space for jump rings. And now I'm coming out here. So what I did on my other I just made up a pattern, and I guess I'm going to make up another one here. I'm going to add, let's see, try and pick up gold, lavender, gold, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Go through the next 11-0. And to tie off, I'm just going to go underneath my beads here and just make a couple of half hitch knots and just pull them really tight so that they snuggle down in between a couple of the beads, and they are hidden. Okay, they look pretty good. What I think, I kind of wanted a charm for this bracelet, so I think I'm going to put a jump ring on this little guy and add a charm to my bracelet that I made in my first video, and this one is going to be my necklace. So I'm going to move this tray out of the way, and I'm going to cut this one apart. I was not at all happy with this one, so I'm going to take my rose petals and my little Potomac pearls back and maybe do another one. And on this one, I think that I'm going to leave the center just plain. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. It has a lot of dimension. Okay, let's set this tray aside, and this part is super easy. I am going to string this length simply adding an 11-0 seed bead in between each one of these little tiny rondelles. And when I get to about the middle of my length, I'm going to just do 3 gold seed beads, and that's where I will put jump rings and put my little pendant. So it's just really, really simple. I'm going to take these off of the strand and just put them here. And so let me show you, since I'm stringing on 10-pound bead stringing wire, let me show you what I'm doing for a clasp. I have taken my wildfire and my fire starter and melted it. So I've just like made like that and just made a ball, like a melted ball. And then I fed that through one of these double clamshell, and that is probably enough to hold it, but I am not going to trust that. I am going to take a teeny drop of, you can use GS Hypos, maybe GS Hypo Cement. Really, you can use any glue. You could use E6000, GS Hypo Cement, because you really just need a little dot. I just want to make sure that this is secure. This piece will not be weighty. Everything is very tiny and very lightweight, but I just want to get a little dot of glue, like inside my clamshell, on my knot and inside my clamshell. Little extra security. And then I'm going to take my pliers and give this a little start here and just close the clamshell over the knot and the glue and everything. And just see if I can line up those loops so I have an easy time getting my jump ring through there when I'm ready to put my clasp on. And it's that simple. And then I've got a little bit of glue oozing out of there, but that's okay. I'm just going to continue stringing. And when I get to the other end, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just picking up, and it's kind of, I found it easy to just take these off the strand and just pick up a crystal, a seed bead. I'm letting it be random, a crystal, a seed bead. And I'm going to do about halfway, and then I'll show you what comes next. So what I actually ended up doing was counting so that I would have half of my beads on one side of my necklace and half of my crystals on my other side. So I am at the middle point, and I have put one of my fancy jump rings through my seed bead loop on my pendant. And this is one of those rare times when I thought one jump ring looked better. I was planning to put two, but everything's so petite, it's overkill. So what I have here are these really cool Hex 80 galvanized starlight beads. They're from a bead shop in South Florida. You can probably find these on Potomac Beads. And so what I'm gonna do is feed on 3 of these. I have 6 out here, and I'm going to feed on my first 3. I closed my jump ring really well, and I'm going to feed that jump ring through. And the reason that I did that is because I wanted this pendant to sit squarely in the middle. I need to look and see if I want more than 3 on either side. Ooh, and I think I do. I really like that. So how about if I do, let me try 6 on each side of the pendant. It has a contemporary, like a little gold metal bar look. Yeah, that's much better. That it highlights my pendant. It makes my pendant really show up and differentiates it from the strung part because of all the candy colors. 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, that is so beautiful. Okay, and I am going to resume stringing with a crystal, a seed bead, a crystal, a seed bead, just exactly like I did over here. A crystal, a seed bead. This is so fast as well. I mean, stringing this way, when you have really small beads, a needle and thread is a really fast way to string them. It's very comfortable, relaxed stringing. Okay, I put a gold jump ring, a gold filled jump ring, and a pretty large one, an 8mm on this side. And my stringing is all done. So what I'm gonna do is let gravity help me. And I'm just going to like push everything down Just push everything down. My needle is still on, and I'm going to take my second clamshell finding and put my needle up through the hole, and I'm going to get a knot in here. And this part is tricky because I want to keep my tension. So I would say that like a little knotting tweezer. I have this little teeny tiny one. And so reach inside that loop and get a hold of this thread. My goodness, it's small. I've got my crimp cover as well because I want to get inside. And I'm going to push my knotting tweezer all the way down pretty tight and pull my thread. And that's going to put that knot, well, it just looped over my finding. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Keep it on the inside of the, just going to push that knotting tweezer down and pull that knot right to the tip of my tweezer. And when I pull my tweezer out, it's pretty well where I want it to be, but it is definitely not big enough to keep that finding in place. So I am going to very carefully cut and melt this knot on this end. It's much easier on the other end for sure. So I'm going to hold that with like my tweezer right about here so that I can keep my fingers out of the way. And I'm just going to get, it doesn't take much. I'm going to just get a little flame here and just melt. So I got a nice little ball inside, and I'm going to do the same thing with the GS Hypo Cement. Just cover my knot and the inside of my clamshell with glue. And I'm going to add this stainless steel gold-plated little lobster claw clasp to this side. If you're not familiar with these clamshell findings, there's another style of these where there's only a loop on one side, and this type is so much better because your jump ring goes through both loops and it's a lot more secure. This is so beautiful and so sweet. I absolutely love this piece. These colors are so wonderful. Stella and I have so much fun designing our box together, and I thank you so much for watching. If you tap more, the little word more underneath the video title, there will be links there to Didi beads, as well as my discount code if you're a new customer. It works on about 80% of the website, not our collaboration box, because we provide this at the very lowest possible price that we can for everything that we include in it. And if you would take 1 second to give my video a thumbs up, or even better, if the new hype feature shows up for you, you're allowed to hype 3 videos a week. That would be greatly appreciated. And so I thank you all for choosing my video today, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.